for joining. I really do appreciate it. Anna's coming on. Here she is. Hey, Anna.
How are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay.
Oh,
So
great.
I hope you're having a great Saturday.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful here. It's in the 70s. I'm gonna run outside after this.
Awesome. I've been outside all day. Well, listen, I want to know first up, what have you been working on lately? I'm dying to see.
Well, I haven't had time to be working on projects. I've mostly been just going out antiquing and looking for inventory for my shop. So that's been keeping me pretty darn busy.
Yeah, girl, we need to shop together, but you're way up in New York and I'm way down here in Delaware, but one of these days we're going to.
We'll have to do Pennsylvania or something.
Yes. Well, I've been working on a little project. Let's see. Let me tilt my camera a little bit. That school desk right there.
Oh, yeah.
I have a pair of them. They're from 1888, and we're thinking they're from like a university. So they're super old. I've got a pair of them. I've got another one to work on, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And today, so I'm super excited about our guest today.
Yeah, I am too. I was like cruising through her feed the other night, and she's an amazing artist. She's phenomenal, and some of the sewing that she does is just out of this world.
Yeah, and I think she's totally self-taught. So we're going to have her join us here. Let me see if she's requested yet. So Jenny, all you have to do is request. I know you're watching us, so let's see. I'll send it to her. I just sent it to her, and then she can just click on it and we'll go from there. But yeah, her feed is very lovely. She's extremely skilled. And oh, here she is. Here's Jenny.
Hello. Hi, girls.
Hey, Jenny.
How are you, Anna? Hey, Cindy.
Hey, it's good to see you, Jenny.
Good to see you. I heard you guys talking. I say we all three meet in Pennsylvania and go shopping.
Boom. There you go. Let's do it. That would be so much fun. So much fun. I love thrifting, antiquing, junking, whatever you call it. I love it. So Jenny, Anna and I were just sharing some of our projects, and we kind of want to get to you and talk about what you're doing. We got a couple questions for you. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
First of all, I want to know where you are. Where are you?
We are located in Toledo, Ohio, which is just at the Michigan border. It's on the northwest side. And we have a small monthly shop here. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. We are working on a website, but don't have that up and going just yet. But you can find my link to Facebook on my profile.
That's awesome.
Yes. Say your business name again.
Oh, we are Found Our Haven, which I usually have to say a couple times for people.
I like that. So in the very moment, where are you? Where are you right now?
Right at the moment, I'm at the shop. We have an open house next weekend, and so I'm down here starting to get things ready. It's a process.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Anna and I shared a little bit about what we're working on. I've got a little project. She didn't work on a project, but she did a lot of work in thrifting and stuff. So what are you working on right now, Jenny?
Thrifting is a part of the process. I'm working on it is, right? I'm working on multiple things, actually. I'm working on sewing. We have a new vendor coming into the shop this month, so I'm getting an area ready for her. I'm working on furniture, painting. So I kind of have a wide variety of things that I dabble in. So that keeps me pretty busy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So go ahead, Anna. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask Jenny, like, can you talk a little bit about why you love vintage items? I noticed that you use a lot of like antique textiles, and it looks like you use a lot of vintage and antique furniture in the projects that you put together. So yeah, we're kind of curious about what draws you to vintage and antique items.
In my opinion, what's not to draw you in about vintage items, right? We're all vintage lovers, right? Everybody that's on here appreciates it. I was thinking about that recently, and I think there's a couple different things for me that it pulls at my heartstrings because of. For one, just the quality and the craftsmanship of older pieces is not easily found these days. When they built these pieces, they were built with quality. And craftsmanship. And I like knowing that a piece was hand carved, you know, the dovetail pieces that are on the side of the drawers, that just pulls at my heartstrings every time, because I think of the craftsmanship that went into doing that. Because if you think about these people that made them, back in the day, they also had hard lives. I mean, they had to provide their own food. They had to provide their own, everything was a lot less efficient for them back then. So they really had to love what it is that they were doing. Secondly, what I love is when I'm out, the things that I'm drawn to somehow remind me of my childhood generally. They remind me of my grandmother, who my grandfather was an attorney and settled estates. So a lot of times people would pay my grandparents with furniture from the estate. And so their home was just a museum, well curated but full of multiple different vintage items. So I like that it reminds me of my childhood. And then in turn, I like that when people come in here, my shop friends come in here, they go down memory lane because it reminds them of something that they either grew up with or their grandparents had it or something. So it evokes this emotional pull, as well as not just a piece of furniture. So
Right.
that's probably the two main reasons why I love vintage.
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me. Yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree with every point you just made, Jenny. Like, those are the very things that draw me in too. So speaking of that, then, do you have a favorite project specific, or like a favorite style of project that you like to work on?
To pick a favorite piece is like trying to pick your favorite child for me, because so much of your heart and soul goes into it. So it's hard to go back to it. But I guess I keep hearkening back to the very first piece that I ever upholstered was, so before I did this, probably until 3 years ago, I never sewed anything, really. Wow. I did do a home ec project in 7th grade and actually had my best friend sew it for me because I couldn't do it, but I did get an A. So I was at an estate sale. I saw a sewing machine. It was an old green color, and I thought,
we're losing you just a little bit, Jenny.
I love girls. I loved hearing the bolt hit the table, and so I wanted to incorporate textiles in it because I think they soften a whole space. I think people oftentimes don't think of the softer items in a room. They think of furniture pieces, but not necessarily fabric pieces. And to me, that's when a room really gets transformed, is with the softer pieces.
That's awesome. I think you broke up just a little bit, but I think what you were saying is that you just really are loving the upholstery projects that you're working on. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
awesome.
My favorite piece that I harken back to is my very first piece that I ever sewed, which was a chair that I got out of the garbage. And I thought, well, I'll just try and upholster it. And I did piping and I did a pleat. And YouTube is your friend. If you're wanting to learn how to sew, go to YouTube and you can pause it. You can learn piping. You can learn how to do a ruffle. You can learn to do everything without a pattern. I never use a pattern. I never really measure anything. It's all just by feel. And so once I did that first piece, it was that aha moment where it's like, I can do this. And then it is just exploded from there. Sewing is my favorite thing to do, which shocks me to.
Oh,
for me
that's
to
awesome.
So
yeah,
that's what I would do.
What that's fantastic. So, it sounds like you're always working with your hands, whether you're working on hard furniture or doing upholstery. So what are some of the challenges you've had when you're working on these projects? I think as creative people, we all encounter different challenges, either in the beginning or midway through a project. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about that and tell us what your experiences have been in that area.
Seam rippers. I mean, you can always find the glory about creating is that if you have a creator's mind, you can create and think how to implement something. You can rip a seam out, you can cut a piece again. It really is so much trial and error, and you have to be okay with that. And it is okay. Nobody's life is on the line. Just enjoy the process that goes along with it. But really, for me, the biggest struggle that I have is budgeting my time wisely, because I do have so many irons in the fire. You know, I do the sewing and the painting and the social meeting and the running a shop and the vendors and all of that. So I really struggle with being streamlined in my thinking, which I hate. From what I hear, a lot of creatives have that problem. So just being really intentional with my time is my biggest challenge.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then I like what you said earlier. I always say, like, you can't be afraid to fail, you know, like in order to start or to get to where you want to be, you can't be afraid to fail. So I hear a lot of what you're saying in your response.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's often in the failure that you have your success, you know. Yeah, that's happened to me time and again. You know, I think, oh, I just completely flubbed up that project, and then come to find out it actually was a blessing in disguise, sort of. So yeah, I'm so with you, Jenny, on that.
Failure is just the opportunity to do better the next time. I think that we frame failure as a negative, when failure propels you to try harder at something the next time, or to do it better the next time. I think back to some of the first pieces that I made where I'm trying to join together my piping. Boy, not good, you know, but I learned with each time, okay, this technique works better, or this. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, we all do it.
Right.
So just kind of embrace it and learn how to do it better the next time. It's not a bad thing to fail at something. Right. It can be a bad thing if you let it overcome you, right, and to not try again, because we all do. So I say embrace it.
So
I love that.
I just want to make sure we stay on track. We only have a couple minutes left. So I just want to keep us on schedule.
Perfect.
Anna, you're so good at keeping us on schedule. I have no idea what time it is, and I know that we don't want to hold up everybody for too long.
Don't even. Good job, Anna.
So, Anna, did you have another question to ask Jenny?
Yeah, I just had a general question. Is where do you find your inventory? I mean, you talked about pulling a chair out of a trash, which, looking on your feed, I have a hard time believing that because your furniture is amazing. So can you share a little bit about where you get your inventory?
You're so gracious, Anna. I love you. Everywhere, really. The side of the road. My favorite piece ever, it was on the side of the road. It was an old primitive piece. They were cleaning out their garage. It was their dad's old workshop. They're like, who on earth would ever want this? And I'm like, oh, me. So everywhere. I'm not opposed to, actually, I love estate sales. The junkier and the dirtier the estate sale, the more all in I am, because that's when you find the great things. That's when you find the great deals. You have to unearth it. I always loved scavenger hunts when I was a little girl. Always did scavenger hunts with my kids when they were little around the house in the wintertime when they needed to get the energy out. It's like a big scavenger hunt. You never know what you're going to find. And that just absolutely throws me. So estate sales, garbage, thrifting to some degree. I don't do that quite as much as I used to be able to because my time is a little bit thin. Marketplace, fantastic place to find pieces. Your local garage sales on Facebook, those kind of feeds, all great resources for finding pieces. Friends.
Yes.
Good pieces.
That's so true. I have so many friends that have given us pieces, and even followers here on Instagram that have messaged me and said, hey, I have this thing, drop it off. I'm like, girl, drop it off.
Yes. At least once a week, I have a shop friend message me a chair or something and saying, I wanted to list this on Marketplace, but I thought of you. Would you want it? And I'm like, yes, thank you.
That's awesome. So
right.
I have one last question. I know our time is ticking, Anna, so you're going to have to keep me in check here. But Jenny, I think that are we out of time?
Yes.
We're out of time.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
No.
Jenny, we'll do it again another time. We'll have another chat.
I'm sorry, girls. I'm chatty.
No, that's all good. It's all good. This was so much fun. Thanks, everybody. And we're going to be saving this to our IGTVs for each of us. Found Our Haven, Skylark House Lifestyle, and Reinvented Delaware. So you'll be able to rewatch the whole thing. And we'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, girls.
Bye.